Hello, and welcome to the Reveal the Legend Within Story Festival world-class speakers interviews. Today, I am incredibly excited to be speaking with a colleague, a peer, a client, and a friend, Chew-Hoong Ko. Hello, and welcome, Chew-Hoong.
Thank you for having me. I feel very honored and very excited.
Chew-Hoong is actually an island girl from Malaysia who currently lives in Massachusetts, in Boston, Massachusetts. And it's an incredible story that at 18, she was put on a plane alone and flown to America and expected to get on with the American dream. And we'll hear about that. But Chew-Hoong, you know, we're ladies of a certain age. We've got to that point now where Chew-Hoong had an epiphany about the rest of her life. That was the main point of today. But Chew-Hoong, tell me about being put on a plane at 18. What did it feel like at the time?
It's definitely an adventure. I have to also add it was my first time on a plane.
Was it your first time out of Malaysia?
Yes, actually out of anywhere.
Right. That is quite extraordinary. So yes, it's an adventure, but I suspect that's because you've got this beautiful positive mindset. But you were expected to just arrive in America and what? Unfold the American dream?
Came to college, yes, go to college. You know, it's a cultural expectation that education will lead to the dream of having, job. It's about security, basically.
Right.
You know,
that's such an interesting nuance, isn't it? That, you know, success is about security, and to get security is about an education and doing everything right. And you're married and no longer married, and you have two beautiful children who are now actually adults. But what we're really here to talk about is when all of that had happened, there was this moment where you sort of had a choice to make. Let me hear you describe it, because you describe it so beautifully.
Yeah. I'm first going to say that, having security, having family and all that is beautiful. I think that, all of us wants to have that. And however, if you have that and yet you don't feel fulfilled and purposeful, there's going to be a part of you that is going to be very unsettled. And mine came with that driving, and suddenly, basically, I was in my head, it was exploding. I was just screaming. My car's driving, and I'm like, ah! you know, literally the primal scream of say, you know, what's life about for me?
What's the point?
What's the point?
And you describe this as being like a choice between, oh, well, never mind, whatever, too late, or never mind, it is what it is. And going, no, there has to be something more.
That's right. Yeah. It's like, why bother? And also, as you say, we're at a certain age, it's like, I should be thinking about retirement. Everybody's around me doing that. So what am I doing? Trying to, it's like, oh my gosh, need to reinvent myself, need to come. But however, what is important is because I start thinking legacy.
Yes.
And
so,
I was looking at that, what is the definition of legacy? Legacy is more about sharing what I've learned, not just what I've earned. And it's really bequeathing values over valuables.
I love that. Bequeathing is such a beautiful word.
Right.
Bequeathing values over valuables. And so you went into this deep exploration of purpose. What is it? How do we get it? What is it that, because I know with you it was like, well, if if what I knew before worked, it would have worked by now. And I've got this, why bother? No, I am going to bother. But now we're drawn by legacy. So what is in the creation or that legacy piece?
It's about really willing to examine what I've done in my life. Whose life is it that I'm living? Is it according to, I call my core values, or the core values of people that's around me? And first is my parents. And I understand where they're coming from, wanting to make sure that I'm taken care of and all that. And then, doing the beautiful life of getting married, having children, and all that. A part of me say yes, and there was a part that say I don't need that.
Yes, and it's when that little thought creeps in that you sort of go, whose life am I living?
Yeah.
And that was the key question. Like, in what is my life? Who am I? And how do I leave something of value instead of just valuables? Now, you talk about, you've sort of got a metaphor about sitting on the bank of a river with a fishing rod that kind of explains it.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting, we talk about dreams, my goals, what I want to live for. It's out there that over 92% of people do not fulfill on their goals. That's huge, isn't it?
Huge.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it's as much as that.
Yeah.
I mean, that is staggering.
Yeah.
That
So,
is a lot of sadness.
right. So, every new year you have your goals and you say, I'm going to do it now. And there's that beautiful, your brilliant conscious mind saying, I want this, I want this, I want this. Yeah. And yet 90% within a few months is like, again, why bother? Next year then, right? And some people say, oh, I don't want to make any goals because it's never happened, right? And so, here's your brilliant mind doing that. And there is a part of even more amazing piece of you, just a subconscious mind. Okay. So let me see. The conscious mind is the goal setter. You're setting all these goals. And then there's a beautiful part of you that's there to support your goals called subconscious mind, called the goal getter.
I love that.
Right? Yeah.
The goal setter and is the conscious mind, and the goal getter is the subconscious mind.
Right.
So go on.
Yeah. And so the metaphor is around like you want to go fishing. So you have the fishing rod. Here's my goals. I'm gonna go catch my amazing dreams of fish. The goals. All right, goal setter, then the goal getter, and of course, with a determination and that work ethic, you can get it. Nobody say you can't. The question is that to really catch the fish that you really want, there is that line, right? The line that connects that two, and that's the core values.
Right. It's so beautiful because it's like if you just have a fishing rod, you might be able to hit a fish over the head, a dream, and somehow get fish. But to actually fish, you need the rod and the line. And the line is the core goals, core values.
Right.
And it's really important to understand your values, not just and ask whether they're yours or if they're borrowed from society or parents, school, television.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of that is definitely your life, your values are run by that. Yeah. And now the question is that when you decide to look at it, very closely, and which are the ones that really are yours versus others. We talk about the authentic self, right? The part that is really 100% you.
So just in case you can give us an example personally of, say you've spoken about your parents' values for you, and then how you've said, well, actually I just had a question one day, did I really want that? Do you have an idea what you do want now? Or is it a process? And is it just enough to have the thought about legacy in place to start really living in your alignment?
Yeah, it is a process. The reason it's a process is that when you have reached a certain age, a lot of things have happened. And in order to, my process is around first been really looking at my internal landscape versus what's external. And
Wow.
internal is around, I called it, what has been the silent killers of my dreams.
Oh, fascinating. Go on.
And so it's around the concept of liar, thief, and fraud.
Okay. So those are our internal thieves or killers, silent killers of our dreams. So explain them again. The liar is
Right?
what?
The liar is saying that, here's my dreams. I can do it. I will do it. You know,
Right. So you lie to yourself. That's the beginning of the year, isn't it? I'm going to, I don't know, lose 20 pounds. I'm going to, make $1 million.
right.
I'm going to do it. And
Yeah.
then
It's going to
you
be
just
different this
don't.
time.
Right. And
Yeah.
then you
Yep.
just don't.
Right.
So you're lying to yourself.
Yeah.
Fascinating. And the second one is?
I would call it, fraud.
So this is when you are faking it till you make it, or
That's
trying to
right.
use that kind of a process.
Yeah. And saying that, yeah, I want this, I don't have it yet, but I'm going to fake it that I have it. And however, but inside, there's that little voice there. You call them gremlin voice there. You don't have it yet. So why are you lying at yourself? Why you having is the imposter syndrome?
Right. Fascinating. And then the last one is?
The thief. The thief is
Okay.
around, who is stealing my bright future? Who is
Ah. So this might be your family or your environment, your school, your business, or whoever you're working for or whatever, whoever you're giving your time to.
right? Or even as you share that dream and they say, how, yeah, that's for a young person. Why are you bothering? Why are you
Right.
messing this wonderful,
So, I
life?
mean, those could be stories like lots of us can relate to, like at school being told that dream wasn't for us. That these are the expectations set around us. Um, uh, like you couldn't really do that, and maybe really you want to be a doctor? Ah, don't think so. Those
Yeah,
sort of things that are, I love it.
yeah. It's like for me, it's about I want to start my own business. Right? The perils of having your own business, the challenges. And I've always been a professional in the corporate world.
Yes, and hugely successful in the corporate world. And vital. I think you do 60-hour weeks most of the time. Um, and that, by some people, would be a measure of success. But you're saying, in order to leave a legacy of value and not valuables, you want to step into these other things that are important to you, which is teaching people about the power of having a legacy mindset and how to really find their values so that they have a fishing line on their fishing rod for their dreams.
Right. And what comes with that beautifully is purposeful and fulfilling life.
Right. And so the beautiful thing about your story is, you know, this young Malaysian girl who never left her own town was put on a flight for the very first time and flown all the way to America, and then fulfilled all of these other people's expectations and dreams, to then find herself wanting something more, but with the choice: don't bother, why bother, or okay, no, I am going to bother, and realizing it was about legacy, and then unpacking that past, that your life to date had been around these three silent killers, to identify that from all of your experience, and then to be able to, so I love that, and then to be able to identify this piece about what did you call it, goal setter and
Getter.
goal getter, the subconscious and the conscious mind. I love that. And how to support the goal getter, because really that's what you're really saying is, we all have a goal setter that comes out on New Year's Eve. That's always in everything we say. Oh yeah, no, I'm going to be a size 10, or I'm going to have a business. But you're saying, how do we support the goal getter? And the goal getter needs to be aligned with that fishing line of values. And that's really where you work, isn't it? Um, on the goal setter part, so that you
Right.
can live a purpose-led life.
Yeah. And I just found this wonderful, Stephen Covey, who wrote the seven, most effective ways. Yeah, highly effective. She said this, and he said, if you want to change, this is what is it? People can't live with change if there's not a changeless core inside them. The key to the ability to change is a changeless sense of who you are, what you are about, and what you value.
I love that. I love that, a changeless self. And that's the person, that's the support for a goal setting part of ourselves, goal
Right.
getting part of ourselves.
So if you want
That's
to be the
absolutely
8%
fascinating.
of if you want to be the 8% of people who achieve their goals, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. And it's not just enough for you to achieve your goals. If they were in the pursuit of valuables, you'll want to achieve your goals in the pursuit of value left in the world.
Hmm.
I love and salute your courage, because I remember when you first told me the story of getting on that airplane, and I said, oh my God, that's amazing. And you said, why? What's so different? So many people do this. And I think for you, um, your culture, it was normal to support your children in this way. But for, say, the rest of us, for many, many people, the thought of leaving home at 18 with just nothing in front of us is incredibly daunting. But that was possibly the sort of core of it. You didn't know what was ahead. And now again, you're like, well, here I have a new possibility. And I don't know what it is ahead. But I do know that if I fish with a line, if I am aligned and I am this what did Stephen Covey call it? There's, again, what was his quote?
The changeless. Um, let me see.
Changeless.
The
It was the
changeless
changeless,
core. Yeah,
the
changeless sense
changeless
of who you
self.
are,
Yeah,
your
the
values. Yeah.
changeless self. But that changeless self, that's what opens up purpose. That is what allows us to get our dreams. That is what allows us to create the dream of a legacy and a life lived on purpose. I salute your courage, because, as you said, when you get to a certain age, you know, everybody around you is like, well, why bother? Don't you just want to retire? Don't you just want to take it easy? And there is some knowledge that this is not easy.
That's right.
And that's why every day when I think of you, I think of you as being this courageous woman who is, at the point when she could not bother, has decided to bother and work this out and create and design her own life. And I think it's just so many of us could be inspired by that. And so many of us could take strength from it. And so thank you. Thank you for coming on to share this today. And I can't wait for our festival goers to come to the festival and hear your story more fully. And then maybe even take a workshop with you if they choose to do a workshop with you. And experience this goal getting and goal setting and the three thieves or three silent killers. That sounds like a lot of fun. So thank you for coming on today. Truly appreciate it. And we'll see you at the festival.
Thank you. Thank you again. I'm very excited about this and looking forward to helping people to create a legacy, living the fulfilled and purposeful life.
Amazing. Thank you.